Alright, guys. So, I'm going to do some more Patreon requests, and the first one we're going to do is from Jason Voorhees 2011, who asked me to do a Halloween Black Lagoon crossover. As always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube once you hit the 3rd tier. That also allows you to get access to other videos that are exclusive over on Patreon as well as check out polls that affect videos here on YouTube as well as over there on Patreon. But other than that, let's get started. So as you can see, this is a Black Lagoon Halloween crossover. I'm trying to wrap up the last few Halloween-centric Patreon requests because, well, there's only 2 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 2 more days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock. I mean, it's kind of apropos I do that, right? I'm never doing that again, don't worry. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so I'm trying to wrap up. If you do want to send me a Patreon request, it's a little late to do Halloween-centric ones, like spooky season-centric ones. I think I've only got 1 left, and I'm trying to that's why I was trying to get to all of them, to the spooky season-centric ones. So yeah. Anyway, so like I said, this is a Halloween Black Lagoon crossover. So let's get started. So the story begins after the events of Halloween Kills. Like right after the events of Halloween Kills, Michael murdered Judith Myers and has escaped into the night. He's escaped into the night, and that night, towards the dawn we're reaching November 1st. Like we are right at the dot of November 1st. The FBI have been called in, and the FBI are like, so why wasn't this called in? Like the FBI, CIA, they're all there, and they're like, they're grilling the marshal that led to, all of this to happen, essentially. And they're just like, you knew this should have been taken seriously from the start, considering who this was. You knew what he was capable of, you knew what he could do, and you let this whole town go insane. And now Michael has escaped into the wind after 40 years. 40 years of incarceration. You have lambasted this. You have completely ruined all of this work we've done. So now we have to put up a massive manhunt for one of the most dangerous people in this country. So the marshal is just like, look, I did all I could, and he's like, all you could? Clearly, all you could was start a riot and get another inmate killed, as well as several civilians as well. So yeah, and he's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And he's like, well, effective immediately. We launched a massive manhunt for Myers, and we are going to find him and put him down, either recapture him or kill him. I'm kind of leaning towards the other, but they're like, well, there's no way. The last time Michael, there's no way you could find Michael. Like, there's no possible way any of you could find Michael. And the only way you're gonna find him is just wait a year. And they're like, that's not happening. So the FBI's kind of the CIA and FBI and all the other agencies are going over all of their options. They're just kind of leveling all of their options for how to find Myers. Because after that, it's 2 weeks into it, and everyone is like, where the fuck, we can't find Myers. We can't find him, and even if we could, we don't know if we could kill him. And they're like, of course we could kill him, we're the CIA. But that's when someone poses, excuse me, sir, if we can't find Myers, maybe it would be easier to find some outside help, not just to find him, but to finally take him out. And they're like, okay, what are you suggesting? And that's when that's when this agent throws a file on the table, and they're like, the Rosarita Cisneros file, really? You want us to find the Bloodhound of Florencia? You want to turn Roberta and hunt down... Yeah, they call her the Bloodhound for a reason, sir. And they're like, let me get this straight. you want to bring in order to hunt down one of the most dangerous serial killers on the planet. You want to bring a fucking monster of a human being to our country and make her hunt down Michael. And they're like, we don't even know where she is. And they're like, we kind of have a beating on this. And they're like, okay, agent. And she goes, Etta, ma'am. And it's Etta from the Church of Violence. Because remember, she's an undercover CIA agent. And they're like, Etta, Jesus Christ, why do you think this would be a good idea? And they're like, well, we've exhausted 2 weeks into this. We have no clue of where Michael could go. I know where Rosarita is. And they're like, and you didn't want to tell us why? You didn't, you didn't want to tell us why? And they're like, well, the last time I encountered Rosarita, she tore through Roanapur like just an inhuman monster. And maybe to find a monster, in order to find a monster, we need another monster to capture it. And they're like, okay. But if this goes south, Etta, this is your ass. Like, this is on you. Plus, we can now have tabs on the Lovelace family too. So Etta goes to Colombia and is like, hey, I need to talk to Roberta. And Roberta's just like, no, you don't. And she's like, look, I need you to, there's something my country needs of you. Have you ever heard of Michael Myers? And she's like, I've heard of him. He's a monster, but I've never encountered someone like that. Like, I've heard stories, and I just think he's the boogeyman. Really, he's a little overblown, if you ask me. And they're like, yeah, about that. We lost. He killed over 20 people one night and escaped, and we can't find him. So what we need is a bloodhound to find and take him out. And they're like, you want me to go to America, the country that has fucked me over and has tried to kill me multiple times, to deal with a serial killer? And Etta's like, bingo. And she's like, what do I get in return? I doubt you're gonna leave me alone. And they're like, you're right, we're not gonna leave you alone. In fact, the Lovelace family, your little friend Garcia here could face some jail time along with his father. That's when Roberta just shoots up and is like, look, we're willing to leave the Lovelace family alone if you kill Myers for us. The Lovelace family, we will never contact you. We will never make war on the Lovelace family again, ever. And she's like, I'll do this, but if you fuck me over, it's your ass. None of you are going to survive. So, yeah. So, Roberta arrives in America, and she leaves Garcia in the care of Fabiola. So, Roberta goes and finds Myers. And in her head, she's like, I don't understand why they think, Michael Myers is such a big deal. He's a man in his 60s, 70s, and yes, he did have a big body count, but he did it with a knife with a bunch of people who are a bunch of superstitious and cowardly lot. He's never really encountered a real hunter. So that's what Roberta's thinking in her head. So she begins in Haddonfield. She's she's searching clues. She's out searching different areas. She's looking all over the damn place for Michael. She is searching high and low for Myers everywhere she goes. Until eventually she gets some clues on Myers. And that leads her to just a trail that she slowly discovers, leading out into the wilds, into this old shack that did belong to the Myers family. It turns out the Myers family had a little home away from home, a little vacation spot out in the woods outside of Haddonfield. And Michael went there. And in Roberta's mind, she's like, no one fucking tried here? Please. Goddamn Americans. Goddamn amateurs. So she goes in there and is searching the room for Michael, and that's when just Michael comes up behind her and just gets her in the shoulder, and she's like, holy shit, he got the drop Like, how the fuck does that happen? He got the drop on me? I don't, like, this old man with a knife got the drop on me, and she, like, whirls around, tries to, like, shoot him. Michael, like, grabs her pistol and is, like, firing it up in the air. It just turns into an absolute slugfest. Michael, like, stabs Roberta multiple times, just repeatedly stabs her, while Roberta is, like, throwing him into the room. She's shooting him multiple times. It's just a all-out, knockdown, drag-out fight between Michael and Roberta, until eventually the fight leads to a fire, and the two of them are in a bloody, just in a absolute shitfest of fight. In fact, Michael, like, stabs Roberta through the hand and pins her hand against the wall, where he proceeds to, like, take a large beam that's fallen from the fire and, like, he starts beating her with it until Roberta, like, pulls her hand out through the knife and just, like, tackles Michael and just starts pummeling him. However, the fire does separate them. Roberta does manage to escape, but Michael is left in the inferno. So when Etta was like, well, what's the sit rep? And she's like, he's dead. And he's like, cool, where's the body? He's like, he's no way he could die in the fire. And they're like, you didn't check? You didn't see if he died or not? Do you know who this is? You know how many fires he survived in one night? Bitch, you ruined it. Like, and Roberta's just like, if he's still alive, then he's not human. I've done my part. I'm going back home. And she's like, all right. But if he's still alive, then it's your ass, bloodhound. And of course, Eda turns on her because her higher ups are like, well, we can still get Lovelace. Send in the team, and that leads to Roberta's bloody trail because the American Special Forces murder Garcia's father, leading to the events of Roberta's bloody trail. Meanwhile, Michael is, of course, has gone underground and is hiding now in the manhole leading to Halloween Ends. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much Halloween Black Lagoon crossover. I'd like to thank Jason Voorhees 2011 for his Patreon request and continued patronage. Other than that, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this? Comment below, let me know. Like I said before, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the 3rd tier. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.